Hey guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts, and welcome to my craft room. This is my WiP It Wednesday video where I'm going to show you whatever I've been working on in the craft room this week. I finished a dishcloth, but I did not get to block it, so now you can see, if you haven't seen one before where I haven't blocked it yet, I think because of as tight as I knit them, because I like a nice tight dishcloth, or the way it curls, I don't know, mine always end up turning into a bowl. But once I block it out, it's cotton, it blocks out nicely, as you've seen. It'll look all pretty like the rest of them. So if you finish one, you must start another, right? This time I am working on a green one, shades of green. Kind of reminds me of celery. Like this is the really light leaves and then the regular stalk. This is the sugar and cream stripes in the color lime stripes, of course. So there is still like a light green to a white that's going to be coming up eventually. I just like to grab whatever's in the center and let it surprise me. It's kind of fun to see as the colors are changing. When you're knitting on this, you don't always notice it right away. You see the colors as they come off the needles, but it takes a couple rows before you can see the way they contrast with the other ones before them. Once I get this one blocked, I'm going to go ahead and redo the listing in the Art Fire shop. So if anyone's been looking for some new dishcloths, you'll be able to check that out when you see this video. I try to get up to 10 before I list them. I don't think I have 10. I might have 6, 7, or 8, but it's been a while since I've had any listed, so I thought I would just go ahead and list them, and then they sell, and I'll catch back up to them when I do them again. I was working on the hat again, this hat here. I'm at the section where I need to repeat this 6 times, and I'm just finishing up my first repeat, so it's going to be a while, and you guys know what a hat looks like, so you could tell how much farther I have to go. I was over here, and it's not as simple to see how many rows I did, and actually I think I probably only did 2 or 3. It's not one of the things I was able to pick up and work on too much. But let's see if we can see those cables popping up so nicely. And there's our brioche honeycomb. So yeah, it's coming along little by little. I'm probably not going to have it done for this winter for my friend. And if it is, it'll be the tail end. But this is going to be a nice light hat anyways. I think this will be great for springtime wearing. So I should be able to have it done with that. I'm trying to pick it up and at least do 1 row a day, if not 2. Well, at least when I picked it up this week, that was my decision. I did not pick this up until the end of the week. So I'm trying to redo my schedule. I'm going to put a video up there of how I used to work my crafts every week. But with the different recording and editing and stuff like that, I have to kind of rearrange how I do it. I'm trying to decide if I want to say, like, I'm going to work on this hat every Monday and only work on this hat, you know, past whatever I do. I'm like a regular person now. I'm like normal. I'm working like a 9-to-5 job, which for me is more like 8 to 4, 9 to 4, and then in the evenings I will go ahead and I work on my knitting projects. There's always so much to do during the day, whether it's running errands outside of the house, those things that we all have to do like cleaning and stuff. Oh, it's never fun. And why, if I'm only one person, if I clean my kitchen today, why do I have to clean it again tomorrow? Because someone told me I have to eat every day, 2 or 3 times a day, and that causes dishes, right? I am the dishwasher, and I don't really do, I actually cook food, so even if I used paper plates, I would still have to clean the things that I cook with, the pots and pans and whatever. So there's like no sense just using paper plates. You may as well just save the money, save the earth, and use a regular plate is what I do. One of the things I have been working on, because I want to get these done, there's so many to make, that I've been working on the taco ornaments. And I thought today I would go ahead and just stick one together and see what it looks like. So I said I'm making 12 of them for a customer, and then I'm going to make a couple for my daughter and a few for her friend and stuff like that for their remembering when they worked at a taco place, Tijuana Flats. So I turned it this way but I noticed that the taco shell's coming down, and I don't think that's too much of a problem. I used black embroidery floss for the face. I'm definitely going to have to pull some black yarn out of my stash because I don't think the face sticks out enough when using the embroidery floss. I want it to be more prominent. They used a brown, but I think black is going to be fine, especially since I have black yarn. the lettuce is just sticking out the sides. So you guys let me know, do you like just the lettuce sticking out the sides, or should I work some of it to kind of pop out the top? I think just sticking out the sides is pretty good. Manipulate it around a little. The thing I did, well, I put the cheese in. Now, the thing that bothered me is, at first I think the cheese might need to come up a little bit higher, but they had me doing 7 tomatoes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I think that's just too many. I think 5 would be fine. I like them sticking out and peeking out the end a little bit, and then maybe just 3 up here, 2 in the back and 1 in the front, or however. I still have to get a hanger. The pattern calls for a thin ribbon. I've been looking online and stuff, but I just got to get to the store and actually look at the ribbons and see what I want. And I don't think I want to have him closed all the way up. You got to kind of have him open to see what's in there. So that's why I think with this hanging down, it shadows the face a little bit, so it'd be nice to have the face stick out a little bit more. Maybe I'll try the next one with the wrong side out to see what that looks like, so if it doesn't curl as much. That's one of the things when you're making these. I make a few prototypes first to see how it's going to go together. Something as small as this, I can really make one of these in a night, so that's not too bad. It does take a while to stitch it together. I think it took me 20 minutes to put this guy together. That's one of the things with crocheting, things like this. It's pretty quick to make the project, but when you start sewing all the pieces together, that's when it takes some time. So these, some of these just kind of like look like little red pimples or sores or something that are just kind of like sticking out on the top. But I mean, they do look like diced tomatoes. I think they're a little bit larger than they probably need to be. I might make some a little bit smaller, but definitely I think to go with 5 versus 7. Just have them kind of peeking out a little bit. I stitched this one right to the lettuce. I stuffed the lettuce, and that does give it a little bit of fullness down here. I'm going to try not stuffing the lettuce and see how that looks, because this is kind of, well, it's nice to be chunky and stuff, and it's definitely going to be a noticeable ornament hanging on the tree. I think he might be a little bit too firm, and it's, like I said, one of those things you just experiment with and try a few different things. Just because the yarn company says or the designer says it has to be this way, we do have the freedom to try different things and to rearrange things that's going to work for us. So there's Mr. Taco. Now that's it for the yarn things, and I do have a variety of things to show you now, stuff that I've been working on. I actually made a quilt top. I believe I showed you the strips when I was sewing them together, but I think I forgot last week to show you that I actually stitched these all into squares. I am doing the rail fence. I went with, I think I ended up using an 8 1/4 on the squares. So I have the 4 strips because I wanted them, I couldn't make them just 3 and make them 6 inches, but I didn't want to deal with the smaller ones, and I wanted big, bold, chunky, because some of these fabrics, they're all 2 1/2 inch strips. I had no control over that because that was part of the challenge with the swap that was sent to us. But some of them have these big, bold flowers and stuff on it, and the stripes and everything. I just wanted to keep them nice and large. So I made a quick little video. Let me pop it up here so you can see what this looks like in its full form. It is a lap quilt. I'll have to check what the measurements are, and I'll put them up here on the screen before we go to the video. But I really love the way this turned out, and when you see it in the fullness, you're going to see the colors all worked really good together, even though it's totally scrappy, and it came from maybe 7 or 8 different people all across the world. Check this out. So that's pretty cool, right? The other thing I was working on is I have a basket, like a laundry basket, that I keep underneath this table right here. This is my cutting table that I'm working off of. And I had a lot of batting scraps. I'd gone through most of my larger pieces between making the quilts and then making different project bags and stuff like that, wall hangings, you know how it goes. You just use smaller bits for table runners and stuff. So I decided to go ahead and piece all of my smaller pieces together and cut them into a specific size. I went with a 5x7 because I thought that this is a good size for small quilt-as-you-go pouches. Nothing too major, just a nice little notions pouch, something to carry some money in or something like that, a little makeup, whatever you want to use it for. So I thought it'd be great size for that, and also good for fabric postcards and also mug rugs. So I went through and I cut all my fabric on my batting up. My rotary cutter was starting to get a little dull, so I was getting ready to change it out for cutting fabric anyways. So it was still strong enough and, you know, sharp enough to use for here. It was just when you're cutting your fabric and it leaves that one little thread that you got to go back through and recut or cut with your scissors. So I knew it was time to change it out, but it was plenty sharp enough for batting. I used an old cutting mat so that I didn't have to worry about cleaning all the extra batting stuff up. I cut everything into, I didn't cut anything into a specific size. I'm going to put up a video. Here's my Franken piecing batting that shows you how I go through and I piece my batting. But these were already in certain strips, like maybe one was 2.5 inches and one might have been 5. So, but it was all ragged and edged up. So I trimmed up the edges on both sides so that I can go ahead and piece like crazy. Some of them, like this one here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. And then other ones that I had, I could just go ahead and cut it into one piece and not to worry about it. So also with this size, I thought it'd be fine. If I needed something bigger, I can go ahead and stitch these together also if I were going to be making a wall hanging or table topper or something like that. And that would be perfectly fine. This is going to be more usable and save me time than it would be to have to piece it every time. I did have some larger pieces. As you can see, I have my favorite. This one right here is the warm and white. This is warm and white. This is just regular cotton batting. This is a different type of cotton batting that I was testing out to see if I liked how that worked. These pieces were larger, so I just went ahead and left them larger. I can cut them down if I want, but I can also use them for larger projects. One of you awesome people is a long armor, and you sent me 2 of the strips off of when you trimmed wool batting off of a quilt, and you sent it to me so I can go ahead and try it out. So I also went ahead and pieced those strips. I trimmed them all up and I pieced them together. Now I did find out that wool does not have to be zigzagged as tight as cotton, so I did loosen up my zigzag stitch a little bit from here, because while it worked out really nice on this one, it definitely pulled everything together and made a little bit of a ridge. That's not going to be noticeable when I work on my project. So I did piece all of these together also. If I decide for some reason that the wool batting is just not for me and I'm not happy with it, I can also use this, since it's wool batting, I can use it for needle felting also. I can use this to use it as a background to needle felt or wet felt a picture on top of it. So that's still going to be very useful. But I am all set for quick little projects now, so whenever I feel like doing a quilt-as-you-go zipper pouch, I'm all set. Last week, we worked on pin cushions with a little bit of a flap of a flange there. You guys have all seen these already. So that took up some of my time. Then I was being very, very stubborn. I tried chapstick holders last week. I wasn't happy with them, so I went ahead and I found a different pattern. And then I don't have my chapstick with me, but you know, it just goes right in there. This is more of a rectangle one where you just sew in this little extra flap on the top. Now this wasn't too bad, but I was thinking that since it still shows a little like this, that if I just use the same fabric on the front and back, it won't matter. If it shows a little bit on the edge, it doesn't have to be perfect. Not every project is going to be, just because of the way things work out. And then you still have your little key ring on it. So I thought that one was pretty good. So I might go ahead and make some more of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put up a little video for you guys. Maybe I'll do that this Friday, and if not, it'll be on next Friday's video. So we can make these really simple chapstick holders. I was also working with my scraps and the calculator tape, and since February is Valentine's Day, I was working with some red, white, pink, and purples, and cutting some of these strips up, getting everything ready. I also did a really cute red and white one. I left this like this so that I can go ahead and show on the video when I use these how to trim this up and pull the paper off. So I always like to leave one extra so that people can see it right there, and then if they want, they can go back and watch the video of the full length of how to do the entire process. Some of y'all just need a really quick, here it is, this is how it works, just show me and let's move on. I did a live stream on Patreon this weekend, and I showed how to make these confetti hearts. And I went ahead and I made a bunch of them, and I turned them into fabric postcards. I did not put a back on it at all, because the way I have it so you guys can ship it and mail it, I haven't cut the cardboard for it yet, but what I do is I slip the piece of cardboard in, like I would this piece of paper. I go ahead and I put my fabric postcard in. If this were a regular fabric postcard, I would have stitched it right to the paper. But as I was discussing over on Patreon, I thought it'd be more useful to people. They can either hang this on the wall and use it as a fabric postcard, or they can use it as a mug rug. And if you have this cardboard on the back, I would worry about any moisture from if you're using a drink that sweats or something, or if you spill your coffee. With the cardboard on it, it keeps it from being washable. But the cardboard will help it go through the mail easier. And then you can just pop it in here like this. The cardboard would be in there to keep it nice and sturdy. And then I have my little sticker for the addressing and stuff like that. So now you can still have it go through the mail and it'll look all fun and pretty and everyone can see it. Or if you wanted to and you didn't want anyone to see it, you can go ahead and put it on this side, and you can either have the fabric or just this cardboard showing on the back, and nobody will know what you're sending. But I think it's more fun to allow people, that's the whole point of putting it in the clear sleeve like this, to let everyone see what's there. So I went ahead and I made 1 and 2 and 3, because you know I can't make just 1 and 4. I really like, this is a flannel, so that worked out really good for that too. 6, 7, and 8. And I decided with the quilting that I really like it to go on the diagonal, so that was really fun to work on. These are going to be going into the shop, so if you're interested in any of them, you can look for them coming up soon. Now, I received some great mail this week, and I told you anytime I receive anything handmade, I like to go ahead and show you. I did receive a beautiful handmade card. It's got stamping all over the inside. I've got a nice little note on the other side that I'm not going to show you. But I thought that was really cute. I like to, because you know, Seattle rains, so you got all the little raindrops coming down and everything. So there's your little landscape for Seattle that everyone knows so well. So that was really cool. And then from a separate person, I received a wonderful box. She sent me several handmade items. I received a dishcloth so that I don't have to knit one for myself, and I'll have one to use. And then these little hexagon, hexagon? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octagon, like a stop sign. Coasters, at least that's what I believe they're coasters. And I just thought they were really cute. The fabric, I really love spools on fabric, spools and buttons, all the different colors. That is just so pretty. So that is going to be fun to not use because, yeah, I'm one of those people that I do have handmade coasters that I use, and I use them until you can't recognize them anymore, and then I make more or I move on to the next one. I think these are really pretty that I might just go ahead and hang these up in my craft room. She also knit a keychain sock. Look at that. That's probably like, maybe a newborn foot. Look how tiny it is. But it's a keychain, so you can hang it from your keys or hang it from other things. I will probably hang it up on my mini quilt wall from one of the thumbtacks. I like to hang up things like this that I receive. So that is really pretty. And this is all from one yarn. She actually sent the rest of the yarn, I believe, is from the same one. So I can make socks for myself, so that's going to be great. And if not, it's really close. and it's still very pretty. So it's fun yarn. A lot of times you can find this in the baby yarn section where they have a lot of the pretty yarns like that because they want to have fun and colorful things for babies, and they figure when we get older we don't want it. So I like to go into that section and grab stuff from there too to use. Now the other thing this person sent is she sent me some project bags. This is a canvas material, and look how huge it is. I have it filled with stuff that she sent me. She also sent this scrappy zipper bag. And see how she used the little zipper extra pieces on the end? We talked about this before. I always save my zipper ends because they're great for projects like this. And it's nice and sturdy because of everything that's been stitched down. It's all overcast and quilted, all the little different scraps. So here's another use for you for all those tiny scraps. And she used, can you see like the hearts and stuff? So she used all the different stitches from, well not all, but she used a variety of stitches from her sewing machine to go ahead and quilt over everything. It just turned out so beautiful. And along the lines of scraps, this one is a vinyl one. So she has all of her scraps underneath and all quilted down. Lots of fun things. This is actually an extended zipper. So the zipper is so long that it actually turns into the handle. See how the zipper works all the way? You don't have to unzip it all the way, of course. So you have your handle built right in by using one of those super long zippers that you didn't know what you were going to do with. Cute little owl. So this is vinyl inside and out, fabric scraps on both sides. Isn't that a great way to use up your scraps? Here is a nice poofy one. It feels like it has quilt batting on the inside. I don't think, there's no way she could have known. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it to you guys, but I love birdhouses. I love birdhouse fabric. I love regular birdhouses, and they're fun to watch the birds. This one has a pocket where she stitched the hearts, and then a sewing theme pocket over here, nice and long to put things in. I am definitely a birdhouse fanatic. I've made several birdhouses and painted them over the years, though good thing birds don't really notice because no one would want to live in the birdhouses I've made. And because we are on a pin cushion kick, we have finger pin cushions. These are great, so when you're sewing, you just keep it on your finger, and as you're, you can just quickly pin, and because your hands are always right where you're working anyways, right? So you can go ahead and just pop your pins in really quick, and then you always have a few of them accessible to you. And of course, these are very smart because they have a piece of plastic or something in the bottom, because when you're sticking the pin in, if you stick it in too far, you do not want it to hit your finger. Because I would hit it with my finger. This one's got a puppy love. It's got the stripes of the fabric that go across. And then a little heart one. We're almost there, guys. We're almost to the end. She really spoiled me. She sent a lot of fun things. Now, the last thing that I'm pulling out of my little Barney bag here, or who was it? I know there's been several people in the movies and stuff. Nanny McPhee, maybe? Mary Poppins? Mary Poppins had one of those bags, right? So she sent stitch markers. Happy birthday, the butterflies that I love. These are paper clips with fabric around them. And you can also use them as zipper pulls because these have the little clippies on them that you can clasp on it. So you can use it as a stitch marker. You can use it as a progress keeper. You can hang it on the edge of a bag, anywhere. I've always loved when they wire wrap jewels and gems like that. So lots of fun things to play with when I'm knitting and stuff. That's the end of it this week, guys. That was a full week of stuff now, wasn't it? I also want to mention that I received a gift of a paper cutter. I mentioned before that I was going to start researching to find a paper cutter to go with my envelopes and everything like that. And someone was very sweet and sent me, she had an extra one, so she sent me her paper cutter and a couple of different little kits of cards to play with. So that's wonderful. So I'm all set now to go ahead and move on to my next part of my project, making the actual cards to go into those envelopes that I played with and practiced and got those under control. Now I get to practice on the cards. I have a feeling that the cards are going to be a lot easier for the way that I'm going to make them, so that shouldn't be as much of a problem, but that paper cutter is going to make it so much quicker. So have you been having a very productive week this week, or is this one of those weeks where you just kind of kick back and you got other things going on and you've been relaxing? I seem to do that with my crafts, where I have a very productive week and then I have a few days or a week where it's just like mellow time and just kind of kick back and take it easy. Thanks for hanging out with me in the craft room this week. If you want to see what's going on Patreon, there's a link below all these videos in the description box. You can head on over and I have the introductory video that tells you everything that's going to be happening on Patreon, at least for these next few months, but mostly for the year, and things are just going to adjust. I'm going to be doing monthly live streams over there. The next live stream is coming up on February 7th, which is my birthday. Woo! So I thought we'd go ahead and celebrate over there and have a little bit of a party. I won't be able to share any cake with you though, so sorry. Okay guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.